What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 372. Man, I got a hell of an episode for you guys, man. It is jam-packed with news. More disappointing news, though. I know you guys are going to hate me for this. The Kanye West album rankings. I decided to wait. I have ranked it. I have my list. But Kanye is getting ready to release this Bully album, so I kind of don't want to. I think it released at one point, then got removed from YouTube, so I think he's redoing the whole album. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm keeping my eye out on that because why not include it on the list? Why not actually release it like that week that the album comes out? I can kind of give my thoughts, not only on the album, but then also rank it, with his albums that he has already out. So bear with me on that. I'll work on some different album rankings. That's already done, though. It's just a matter of that album coming out. So I'll probably go back to Eminem and just do that one. Sha Money. The Sha Money interview is doing really well. Like I said on the main channel, the feedback has been amazing. I mean, a lot of people commenting interview of the year, this and that, even though it was done in 2022, late 2022, and was released, some of it, at least 40 minutes to probably an hour of it for the Give It Your Die Trying documentary. So even though it's an old interview, like I said, I still really enjoyed the interview, and all the people I actually interviewed were really great. And I just don't think their stories would be as interesting, or else I would release those interviews. I might do Rockweiler, maybe, because he's got more, production stories of other artists, Method Man, Redman, whatever, like a bunch of, different stories. So I might end up releasing his interview. I don't know. But we do have a lot in the works in terms of interviews, and you guys are going to love this. So that's why I say 2026, Diverse Mentality is going to be on a whole different level. And this year was essentially a setback because, obviously my dad dying, then YouTube giving me these issues. The car accident messed up my back, so I couldn't really work like that until March or something like that. So ended up having a few issues, and then YouTube doing that AI thing that destroyed my channel, and now it's back. So 2026 is going to be the year that Diverse Mentality is going to skyrocket to a different level. I have a lot of things in the works behind the scenes that you guys are going to love. With that Sha Money interview, people saying it's interview of the year, it made me kind of rethink how I might end up doing interviews. I might want to do them with like album breakdowns like that. I think that's really, really interesting. I think a lot of people are appreciating it. They're kind of getting stories out of this stuff, and they're getting breakdowns of, how to do things musically, which it was revealed obviously in the Give It Your Die Trying documentary, but not everybody saw that. Unfortunately, a lot of people, this is the first time they're seeing the Sha Money interview. This is the first time ever. So I have to link them, in the comments and say, hey, this is from the Give It Your Die Trying documentary. So some people saw that documentary. I mean, it only got 1.3 million views, which is great. Don't get me wrong. But obviously 1.3 million views isn't, oh my God, everybody saw it. It's a great amount of views. I wish it would have gotten like 3 to 4 million. That probably would have been more, okay, this is great. It did great numbers, but it is what it is. Things happen. The numbers aren't bad, but they aren't really great. They're right in the middle for me. But yeah, that gave me like a different thought process of how I want to do interviews, because what I can do is, if I can do these interviews of these artists breaking down their albums, or at least their most iconic albums like that, I then can use those portions for the documentary of that album, whatever documentary I make. For example, if I go talk to Buck again, I say, hey, let's break down your Straight Outta Cashville album, track by track. I can take that footage, then use it for a Straight Outta Cashville album documentary. Obviously, that's going to take a lot more work because I'm going to be gathering footage from this producer, but that footage, it's two birds with one stone. Like, it's an interview and it's doing a documentary for me. So I think I will do that for most artists moving forward. I'm going to try to format these interviews a little better. Unfortunately, though, it costs like a lot more money if I'm going to be doing that, because, this Sha Money interview is 3 hours long, which is a long interview. That's not a short interview at all. You're asking somebody to take up, at least 5 to 6 hours of their day, because by the time they get there to do the interview, by the time we set it up, by the time we actually do the interview, by the time we're done, you're looking at least 6 hours of your time sitting there doing an interview, which is going to cost, Vlad today bragged about, spending all this money, paying his interviewers and stuff. It's great, but it's screwing over the smaller content creators like me who, can't afford to pay everybody thousands upon thousands of dollars every time they sit down and do an interview. It's just not an affordable thing for me to do. Could I pay $500 here, maybe $1,000 here? Yeah, of course. Because I can make that back. I know 100% I can make that back. But some people, and I'm not going to name names, are demanding $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, and I can't, $3,000 to me is a lot of fucking money to put towards an interview that I don't know will recoup that money. That's just way too much money. I don't even have that kind of money right now to put down on interviews. I can't take that risk right now. I'm not in the financial spot to be doing that. But that's, Vlad was bragging about that. I was just like, man, Vlad, you don't understand what you did to the game. Now everybody's asking for money. Even people who are barely known are asking for money, So I paid, I think, everybody I've done an interview with, I've paid, besides on the Givers Should I Try and Documentary, but these recent ones, I've paid everybody besides one artist that I did an interview with. Didn't pay him. But yeah, it's unfortunate because everybody's asking for money. You don't know if you're going to recoup it. And it's a bunch of bullshit that happens with that. But that's part of the game. So, when you guys join these Patreons and these YouTube memberships, you guys are helping towards that. I mean, it helps me out a lot. I know a lot of people get frustrated. Why are you splitting this into so many parts? You got to understand, it costs a lot of money. First, most of the time, you're going to have to meet the artists where they are at. It's rare that they'll come to you and actually do the interview. So first, flights, it's going to cost money. Second, if you have to rent equipment, or whatever the case may be, that's going to cost money. Getting a hotel for that day or night or how long you're staying there is going to cost money. Then doing the interview is going to cost money. Then potentially renting out an area to do the interview. You could probably do it in your hotel room, but all interviews can't be done at a hotel room, and some people don't have areas that they want to do interviews at. The Hot Rod one, I ended up paying that studio, I think, like $600 or something like that just to, do our interview. So that costs time, money, so all that stuff piles up to thousands of dollars already, without blinking, it's already, you're spending $2,000. So this stuff is not, it's not cheap to do now that especially now that Vlad's, made this norm of like, hey, you're getting paid to do an interview. Not everybody's fucking asking for money. It's like, it's gotten out of control. But it is what it is. It's something that, I'm going to have to work through and see if it's feasible for me to keep doing these interviews. Because I love doing them. I like talking to the source. But some of these guys just think they're worth a lot of fucking money when it comes to interviews. And they're not. Simply just simple and plain. And some of these, like my platform is actually giving you more shine than, anything. So you're growing your own name as well. And then, other people can pay you to do interviews. Maybe you could start with me and not charge me. But some people don't look at it that way. They just want money. Hey, pay me this and that's it. And yeah, and the problem is too, even when you pay, and I haven't had this issue at all. I just started doing this, but I'm sure there was one person that asked me, hey, I was like, hey, can we do this interview? And he was like, yeah, I want this amount of money. I was like, okay, that's cool. That's not like anything crazy. It's a doable amount. But he's like, I don't want to talk about this though, man, because I just don't want to talk. Oh, and I don't want to talk about this. I'm like, bro, I'm paying you to do an interview. Like, I should be able to ask whatever the fuck I want, unless it's incriminating, like you're in a legal lawsuit right now or something. That's the only time where it's like out of hands, off hands that, to not talk about that. But other than that, man, if I'm paying you, like now it's actually like something that you are, getting paid to do. So you should tell me everything I'm asking for. But yeah, it's you deal with egos, you deal with just a lot of shit. So it's not easy, man. I know Vlad goes through a lot of shit. I know Art of Dialogue goes through a lot of shit, but I'm going to look into it. I'm obviously, I got a few interviews that are lined up that are going to be really, really dope. And from the looks of it, they're not going to charge us because we're doing an exchange for something else. They're going to do interviews with us. And these 2 interviews are going to be amazing. You guys are going to fucking love them. But I don't know when they're getting done. We're just figuring it out right now. We're going to, line things up. But yeah, I'm excited. Let's get back to actually what the podcast is about, which is news, because I'm over here rambling on. So a lot of it's just updates on a lot of like lawsuits and stuff that's going on. But Keefe D's murder trial has been delayed due to overwhelming evidence. Yes, you heard that right. Overwhelming evidence. The mystery of Tupac Shakur's murder continues to captivate audiences even beyond the upcoming trial that Dwayne Keefe D is facing for it. While we're on the subject, though, Tupac's alleged killer just got a big new update in his case, according to All Hip Hop. A Las Vegas judge reportedly delayed the trial's start date back by 6 months to August 10th, 2026, which is not even a month away from the 30-year anniversary of the shooting. As for why his pushback occurred, it's reportedly so that Keefe D's legal team can review an overwhelming amount of evidence in the court's possession. The massive heap of material means that more time will seek to ensure a more fair process. Reportedly, prosecutors didn't push back against Clark County District Court Judge Carly Kinry's decision. Keefe's attorney, Robert Drasovich, is his newest legal ally as he replaced his earlier lawyers in the case. The decision came shortly after Keefe D received a prison sentence for fighting another inmate in Clark County Detention Center, where he's been since his September arrest in 2023 over the Tupac case. As for Keefe D's sentence for this conviction, it's a 16 to 40-month bid, which will credit his time served. He has been waiting for this trial for a long time, facing accusations that he organized the drive-by shooting of Tupac Shakur in Las Vegas. However, Davis's previous words on this matter have complicated both his defense and the arguments prosecutors have against him. This is because of multiple conflicting accounts, retracted statements, changes of the story, and other details. Mainly, Keefe's legal defense rests on his alleged exaggeration of his involvement for the sake of selling products like books and himself in the case of interviews. Yeah, so I know they're going to go that route. They're going to say, oh, he exaggerated because he's trying to sell books. He's trying to become a bigger name so he can do more interviews. I knew they were going to go that route, and that makes total sense. Following the death of the alleged gunman Orlando Anderson in 1998, many others involved in the situation have since passed away, so Keefe D is now one of the few living souls with a direct connection to it. As he's Anderson's uncle, we will see what this trial delay leads to in court and whether or not this Tupac mystery will come to a close. I think he's going to get convicted. Who knows how much time he'll serve, but he is definitely going to get convicted. But yeah, we'll see, man. I told you this shit's going to get delayed. It's going to keep getting delayed. Probably won't even happen August 10th, 2026. It'll be like a GTA 6 game where, there's going to be dates announced and shit's going to be pushed back. Rockstar, you piece of shit gaming company, delaying GTA 6 all the damn time, man. But that's another story for another day. We'll see what happens moving forward with this Keefe D trial. Updates on the Cameron and J. Cole lawsuit. Let's get into it. Cameron recently launched a bombshell lawsuit against none other than J. Cole, which stems from their recent Ready 24 collab from last year's Might Delete Later. However, a previous legal battle for the It Is What It Is host means that if he's successful in this suit, he can't get his cash just yet. According to an all-exclusive, all-hip-hop report, he was hit with a lien over photographer Dimalja Rosana Kroshan's successful copyright infringement lawsuit. Wow. For those unaware, Killer Cam has to pay a $50,000 judgment for failing to license the pictures of himself he used for new merchandise. You know what's crazy? Hold on, let me get into that later. As such, any potential payment that he would get from a hypothetically victorious lawsuit against Cole and Universal Music Group will first have to cover this previous judgment, unless, of course, the judgment finds coverage elsewhere. Presumably before the Cole lawsuit gets a verdict. Then again, the Ready 24 suit seeks $500,000, so it's not that much of a dent, but it still could complicate matters a lot more. We will see where this legal battle goes next. For now, it seems like things either developed privately in court or took a pause after the initial news shocked fans. Sorry, I keep mumbling over words today. You know what's interesting about these like photo lawsuits is like that's Cameron, that's him. But because a photographer took a photo of him, it's the photographer's copyrighted stuff, which is like, it's kind of weird when you think about it, right? Because it's you, but the photographer, it's his work because he's taking photos of you. So I don't know. I don't know how the laws are on this stuff, like clear laws on this, but it should be like, if it's a photo of me, I should have fair copyrights of me. Despite, I'm not saying that the photographer shouldn't have any copyrights and that they shouldn't own rights to their own photo that they took. But the person that's in the photo as well, especially if it's like a public figure where both parties benefit, it should be like a 50-50 thing where if Cameron wants to use himself on a shirt, like the photographer has to approve of it, so on and so forth, and they both get a cut of that, right? Instead of like Cameron just using it and then the photographer doesn't get a cut of it or whatever the case may be. I think if it's of a person, obviously if a photographer takes a photo that's iconic and it's, of some mountains or something and everybody uses it, no, like at that point the photographer should get paid. It's not like you can't copyright mountains. You know what I'm saying? So I've always found that weird, but yeah, That photographer won a $50,000 judgment. So if Cameron somehow wins $500,000 from his lawsuit, he's going to have to owe at least 50 G's to that person before he gets his own money, which is complicated. This type of stuff takes a long fucking process, but I'm sure Cameron's not hurting for cash anytime soon. But yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. Speaking of money, Puffy got that money. He has paid off his charges that he got after, he was found guilty of, all those other things. Diddy is facing no shortage of legal issues these days, but recently he was able to get at least one of them off his plate. They reported that he's paid off $500,200 of a federal fine linked to his criminal conviction. He was found guilty of transportation for prostitution in July following a 2-month trial. The fine was part of his sentence, which was handed to him in October. It also includes 50 months behind bars and 5 years of supervised release. Reportedly, the mogul was given 60 days to pay the full amount. While Diddy's financial obligations might have been taken care of, he still has most of his sentence in front of him. His release date was recently pushed back. He also gave a bunch of turkeys to people in prison as well, paid for everybody to get turkeys, so on and so forth. So he's not poor. There's no, there's no shortage of money from this guy. Just off music alone, he's probably bringing in at least $5 million a year, easily. I think he's obviously lost a lot of endorsements companies used to work with, because his image, even when he gets out, his image is forever tainted. I don't think he's going to be accepted as, Diddy as he was before. Will people still work with him? Potentially, yeah. I think some people see it a whole different way. Some other people see it a whole different way. But we'll see, man. Maybe the 50 Cent documentary that comes out will change people's minds, and it might make it worse for him. Who knows? But yeah, he's paid that. So of course, $500,000. Man, I wish I could just pay something $500,000. $500,000 right now would be what exactly the amount of money I need to help everything that I got going on. $500,000 would take care of everything for me. So if anybody has $500,000 out there and that's listening, definitely hit me up. That would be really, really great of you to send me that money. It's about to be Christmas. Send me a present. $500,000. That's nothing. Come on, man. If you're rich, I know a billionaire is listening to this somewhere. Send that $500,000, man. Help me help you. That's what this is about. Helping me help you. But yeah, that's update for Diddy. This does not look like good news for Lil Durk. Let's get into it. Lil Durk is still behind bars awaiting his murder for hire trial, but separate legal matters reportedly threaten to make this situation more difficult. According to an exclusive All Hip Hop report, he is at the center of a new murder for hire allegations tied to a 2022 shooting of Stephon Mack in Chicago. The accusations from prosecutors stem from the arrest of Preston Powell, also known as Marley, a co-defendant Anthony Montgomery Wilson over this shooting. Prosecutors will try Powell first and want to use statements from how you pronounce these fucking last names? Montgomery Wilson that allege that individual A, whom prosecutors believe to be Durk, offered a bounty for Mack's death. Mack had faced accusations of aiding in murder of the Chicago rapper's brother D-Thing in 2021. According to the report, police found text messages between Wilson and Powell that reference collecting payment from OTF early in February of 2022. Also, digital records reportedly show Mont at the same Chicago location where individual A recorded a podcast interview. He did. Lil Durk did record a podcast interview with $1 million worth of game in Chicago. Although the timing is unclear at press time. Less than 2 weeks later, Montgomery allegedly posted a Facebook story displaying cash and playing an OTF song, which prosecutors believe is a brag about the crime. After his arrest, FBI agents reportedly set up an informant in his cell, to which he allegedly revealed that he and Powell murdered Mack and kept contact with an alleged Risky Road gang member. According to phone records, that alleged gang member was at the Youth Peace Center where perpetrators murdered Mack, and police reportedly confirmed that he communicated with Montgomery Wilson. As of the writing of this article, it's still unclear if these developments will affect Lil Durk's current murder for hire trial. This relates to the 2022 shooting of Lil Pab, Quando Rondo's cousin. Authorities are accusing Durk of arranging for individuals to attack Rondo in Los Angeles, an altercation in the city that year left Quando injured and took the life of his cousin Pab. Yeah. So I guess this isn't these clickbait kind of titles. It's not directly correlated to his murder for hire trial he's going through right now, but it is something that potentially can be used against Lil Durk to say, hey, we have evidence that he's done it here, so why wouldn't he have done it here? Which I don't know if that, if he managed to, let's just say, squeal out of this one and everything's good and they don't find much evidence and he doesn't get, caught in that, they're going to hit him with the other one because they clearly got, it seems like, more evidence. They got an informant. They got somebody that's willing to talk. Well, not really, quote unquote, willing to talk, but he expressed to a rat in prison that this is what happened. So regardless, it's a messed up situation and a lot of it's going to get tied into a lot of stuff. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but crazy nonetheless. Updates on Kevin Liles' sexual assault lawsuit. And it's good news. A federal judge has dismissed a sexual assault lawsuit that was filed against Kevin Liles. The judge ruled that the claims are legally barred due to a settlement agreement signed nearly 2 decades ago. On Monday, U.S. District Judge Naomi Reese Bushwald ruled that a previous 2005 settlement between the plaintiff and Universal Music Group, the parent company of Def Jam Recordings, prevents the woman from bringing new claims related to her former employment. According to the court, the agreement included a broad legal release that covered both known and potential future claims connected to her time at the label. The woman had alleged that she was fired unlawfully after reporting verbal harassment and inappropriate conduct by Liles while she worked as an assistant at Def Jam. Notably, her original 2005 complaint did not include any allegations of rape. Universal Music Group ultimately paid $47,500 to settle the civil rights complaint without admitting wrongdoing. In exchange, the woman agreed not to pursue any additional legal action tied to the matter. There you have it, right? So it's kind of, here's the thing. I want to believe women or men or whoever that come forward and say, hey, I was sexually assaulted, this and that. But when there is see how at this time in 2005, she willingly accepted $47,500 and said, listen, I will take this money and move on and never mention this ever again, which is essentially hush money. I mean, yeah, they didn't admit any wrongdoing, but it is hush money. It's saying, hey, here's some money. Shut the fuck up. Don't ever bring this up in court or any other way ever again. So if you actually got raped and you were assaulted verbally and whatever the case may be, I would not, especially if I had evidence. That's the number one thing. If I was telling the truth, first, if I was telling the truth, I would never accept, a settlement. But if I had evidence to go with that, there's no settlement I would accept in the world. I would air you the fuck out. That's the definition of selling your soul, is when you put money above you and just your things that morally are wrong. It's morally wrong to accept money from someone who abused the shit out of you just so you can make money off the situation. That person can go on abusing other people. You expose them and you have them do prison time, whatever the case may be. But this person, I'm sure at least, saw a bunch of stuff that was going on with Diddy, because I don't know when this lawsuit was actually filed. Liles was not a signatory to the original settlement. He had exited Def Jam by the time it was executed. However, Judge Broshfield determined that the agreement's language expressly and unambiguously extended protections to him. In her ruling, she wrote that the settlement discharged any and all claims the plaintiff knew or reasonably should have known at the time. Because of this binding nature of the agreement, the court dismissed the lawsuit with prejudice, meaning it cannot be refiled or amended. Judge Bushwild stated there was no legal route that would allow the case to proceed in light of the previous settlement. Representatives for Liles declined to comment following the decision. Attorneys for the plaintiff did not immediately respond to media inquiries. The ruling effectively closed the door on the case, with the court affirming that the prior settlement agreement remains enforceable and depositive nearly 20 years later. So I don't know when this was filed, though. It doesn't say on here. But it was probably in 2000. Let me see, man. When did Kevin Liles? Yeah, this was in February 2025. So earlier this year. Earlier this year, he was hit with law. So this lady probably saw what was going on with Diddy, with Cassie and all this shit, and said, let me try to get my bag up. And that's the problem with this stuff, is are you really for the pain that you went through and exposing a bad person, or are you there just to get money? Now, I have no problem with you getting money and exposing a bad person. But back then in 2005, when this happened, you should have not settled. You should have taken this guy to court and destroyed his whole career for doing this bad stuff to you. But that's the thing. When you settle and you're doing all this stuff, and I get it, some women say, oh, they're scared that, if they don't settle, they're going to come after them, or they don't know what to do in that situation, and at least some money could, alleviate some of the stress and pain that they're going through. I get that, right? But to a certain extent, you have to stand up for yourself and stand up for everyone else who could potentially be harming, So I don't know, man. It's hard for me to kind of look at these things and be like, it's definitive this or that. It's each lawsuit, sexual assault lawsuit or rape or whatever the case may be, has its own parameters and own things. But I can understand why some people say, hey, this woman is just seeking out money in this lawsuit, or this man is just seeking out money in this lawsuit, because it kind of looks like that from that lens. But I don't know, man. All I know is I always go towards the evidence. It's sad that more humans don't go that route. They go through their emotions. Instead, I go towards the evidence. To me, for the Diddy situation, it was enough for me to see him beating up Cassie in that CNN video that leaked at a hotel. That to me is enough to say he's a piece of shit. I didn't need nothing more than that. But I believe the other stuff that happened as well. But that to me showed, hey, the least he is a domestic violence abuser, which I don't fuck with at all. I think you're a piece of shit if you do that, man or woman. So that's all I needed on that case. But in these other situations, it's kind of hard to tell. It's kind of, you don't know. You don't have solid evidence. If you do, then it should be clear as day. But even with that Diddy situation and that video being out clear as day, some people still rock with Diddy. It's still, they don't care, because it doesn't affect them. It's not them that got abused, not their sister that got abused. They could care less, which is unfortunate. I think as humans, we should all be more in tune with each other, more sympathetic towards everyone's things that they're going through. Like, if you're seeing war in another country, you should be sympathetic to them, even though it's not happening to you. Look at them and be like, damn, kids being murdered is not a good thing. Damn, we should do something about this. We should be more upset about this. But a lot of people have this attitude of, hey, if it's not affecting me, I just don't care. I got other problems in my life. And I can kind of understand that to a certain extent. That is a selfish view. But, nobody's asking you to be Superman here, but just, talk about something. The more we talk about certain situations, the more light goes to it, the more, people see that they're upset about certain situations. But yeah, that's a whole different talking point, stuff like that. But the lawsuit got dismissed simply because it was settled back in 2005. So that's the update on that. Dame Dash has decided to call out 50 Cent. First, Dame Dash said the 50 Cent Netflix documentary on Diddy was cap. Well, been proven that it's not. Obviously, it's coming out like literally in a couple days now. But now Dame Dash goes a different route, which is interesting. So 50 basically posted a photo of Dame Dash missing teeth and said, hey, basically, I'm kind of paraphrasing here. Basically said, this is not cap. Don't believe a guy who says, things are cap. Dame Dash responded, and he posted a photo of 50 taking photos of Daffy and Joy, which is 50's second baby mama, who had ties with Diddy after they broke up and started, doing freaky things with Diddy. He posted a photo of that, and in the caption he said, never trust a black man that will make a documentary tearing down another black man for a white man. That's nasty work. I'm not playing these ghetto games. That's played out. Now, here's the funny part about this, right? Dame Dash would never be saying this if he was in a position to make a documentary bashing Jay-Z. Like, let's just say Jay-Z was in the position Diddy's at right now. You don't think for a split second Dame Dash wouldn't have a field day with that? He would not. You really don't think he want to go crazy and tear down Jay-Z? And be like, look at this guy. He's a sex trafficker. He's this and that. He beat the shit out of his, let's just say the footage was him beating the shit out of Beyonce, whatever the case may be. You don't think, if you seriously think Dame Dash wouldn't have took advantage of that moment, you're lying to yourself. Dame Dash would 100% make a documentary on Jay-Z on Netflix if he had the opportunity. One, it would bring him more money. Two, he's obviously talked shit about Jay-Z in the past before. So, this whole tearing down a black thing, blah, 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 even though 50's put a lot of black actors into work that have never acted before. I mean, he's done a lot of good in terms of the movie world. I mean, just because he's literally calling out a bad person. Like, how is Dame Dash, like, defending Diddy? That's basically what he's saying. He's saying, listen, you're tearing down another black. That's not just another black man. That's a guy who sex trafficked people. I think what the charges were, I forget exactly what the charges were, word for word, but he did he did fucked up things at the end of the day. He put his hands on a woman, beat the shit out of her. And then he's getting charged for flying women out, which is, a whole different topic. But, there's a lot of stories of Diddy not being a good person. So this is like nothing surprising, but the fact that Dame Dash has taken that side of things and actually defending that and using the race thing of, oh, you're a black person tearing out another black man. I would never do that for a white man. Like, that's a dumb way of looking at things. That's just a way of you getting bitter that someone else is succeeding and actually called you out on your bullshit because you said it was cap and clearly it's not. It's coming out. But yeah, if roles were flipped and Jay-Z got into the position Diddy's at and Jay-Z was on video footage beating Beyonce, Dame Dash would have a field day. He would be taking every advantage he can of destroying him. That's just the reality situation. But yeah, Diddy and 50 have always had issues. It stems way before the Daffy and Joy thing. I know a lot of people like to joke around and say, oh, that's why 50's mad. Like, there's a lot of... you could even say it started back in 2002. I mean, I need to do a 50 Cent versus Diddy documentary. I really need to do that. I think I've seen some and they just don't do it justice. I think a lot of people just don't know what they're talking about because there's a few pivot moments that even Sha Money told me that nobody's ever heard of in their lives. I mean, Sha Money mentioned it in my interview a little bit for most part, but there's a lot of moments where people just don't understand the real backstory. I mean, a lot of people point to the Mace situation, but there were a few moments before that dealt with Steve Stout, that dealt with Diddy. But yeah, I need to definitely do that. But yeah, this is just like Dame Dash getting bitter that he wasn't the one doing a Netflix documentary on Diddy. Because trust me, if Netflix gave him a bag, he would do the documentary. There's no like if, ands, or buts about that. But yeah, that's my take on the situation, and that's what Dame Dash has said. The game, the motherfucking game. I wish I could do an interview with him, man. Shout out to the game, man. He has been going on an interview run a little bit. He appeared on Big Boy. He appeared on the other show that's in L.A. I think he appeared on one more show. I don't know. But he's done like a few L.A. interviews. And he has revealed that he's working on a Gangsta Grillz mixtape, which is really cool. It's called The Trailer Before the Movie or something. Oh, no, it's called Every Movie Needs a Trailer. So he's saying, with that title, he's saying basically this mixtape, this Gangsta Grillz mixtape, which is the first Gangsta Grillz he's ever done, is the trailer to the movie, which is the documentary 3, which is coming out after. But in this interview, he says the current state of hip-hop is trash. And he says he's one of the best MCs. So let's actually listen to that.
What do you feel the state of hip-hop is right now, gang?
It's trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it. And me, I'm just, one of the best rappers on earth. So, I mean, what am I saying?
Is it bad to say that I'm one of the best rappers on earth?
Nah.
Right.
I am.
Right.
Everyone knows this. And anyone that disagrees with that is, they lying to themselves. But then we get back to that mirror. They need to go step in that mirror.
Right. And look at yourself.
And then bring up my discography and everything that I've done for hip-hop, L.A., the West Coast. Like, I carried a lot and I asked for nothing.
Now, look, the state of music is trash. I think anybody who's, like, hip-hop is not it, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I've lost my, I don't want to say passion for hip-hop, but I've lost, like, me liking a lot of the new music that's coming out, man. A lot of the new music is just garbage, man. And to be honest with you, we lost a lot of the people that were going to lead the sound, which is another issue, is, you lost Juice WRLD, XXXTentacion, Nipsey Hussle, Pop Smoke, Lil Peep. These are the 5 people I always end up mentioning because I feel like those were the ones that were going to kind of shift the sound. Mac Miller as well, which is another one that we lost that was big, that was doing something. So we lost a lot in hip-hop, and that's probably the reason why I hate a lot of the new music that's coming out because it just doesn't hit, man. A lot of them sound the same. The substance isn't there for the most part. Like I said, this year, Clips, Banks, maybe this Nas and DJ Premier that's coming out might be something. But other than that, man, I can't really off the top of my head be like, man, this new project I've been listening to, I love. Like, it's been very limited, man. And it's this, and I agree with Game, man. He is one of the best rappers that there is out there. I think the only thing that kind of gets in the way is his antics, the stuff that him always name dropping, always stirring shit up, and a lot of people don't like that. I don't mind it, to be honest with you. I really don't care. But that's been an issue for Game in his career. But, and he did carry the West Coast for a little bit of time. I mean, that's a huge credit to him for that as well. Obviously, Dre and 50 had an involvement in that and, launching his career and making sure that happens. But Yeah, huge credit to Game as well. But he's right, man. The current state of music is Dookie Water, and he is one of the best doing it. So I can't wait for this Gangsta Grills mixtape. Zach, I know he asked me to live stream. I probably won't. I'm glad I didn't live stream last because he promised it coming out Friday, this past Friday that went. So I'm glad I didn't live stream it because he never dropped that Friday. I would have been pissed if I stayed up really late at night, Thursday night, waiting for this project to drop and it never comes out. So the chance of me live streaming albums anymore is going to be very, very minimal. It's going to be very rare. It's just something that I don't want to be up really late, to be honest with you, man. I've shifted my health, my schedule of how I sleep, and I feel way better. I can get a lot more done, more productive, just everything's better. So I don't want to, risk my sleeping just for, to do a live stream of an album listening session. I could do it probably the following day on a Friday, maybe like midday, and not listen to the album till like Friday afternoon. I'm willing to do that, but a Thursday night stream at like 12 at night, probably not happening ever again. I'm just prioritizing my health way more than that. That to me is not, it's not even my bread and butter. I don't live stream in general. So to me, it's like, it's a thing that I do just because I like connecting with you guys live. It's a fun, thing to do. But other than that, I'm not like much of a live streamer. Continuing on though, the Game said that he was interested in signing Kendrick Lamar. So let's play this clip.
I would be going in the beginning of my career. I'd be going by Top Dog's house and just, helping him with J-Rock stuff and lending my, 2 cents since I was a little bit, ahead of the curve than from where they were. And I was always asking Top, I was like, yo, let me get Dot. Mm-hmm. He was like, no. And so he knew what he was. I knew what he was. J-Rock, when I took J-Rock on tour, Dot was hype man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I asked Top again at my house in Glendale. I was like, let me get Dot. He was like, nah. But he was like, yo, what if we piece up TDE? And I was like, man, I got Black Wall Street. I'm good.
Yeah.
I want you to do
So
your
when you
thing.
say let me get Dot, are you talking about let me get him as an artist or as a feature?
Let me get him as an artist because I already knew.
Yeah.
I knew what he was gonna be. And nobody didn't understand it yet except everybody that was around Top and TDE. They knew. Mm-hmm. And I knew. And at first, everybody was saying how he rapped too fast and it was going around the hood and all of that, right? And I was just like, y'all tripping. This is him.
Now, Game was early on a lot of West Coast artists, obviously, because he's from the West Coast. Makes sense, right? Nipsey Hussle, early on him. Early on Kendrick, because a lot of people say the first time they heard Kendrick was The City on Game's Red album. I can't recall when I first heard Kendrick. I don't think it was, for me, it was The City. I think I heard High Power, which came out before that song. Or I might be wrong. Let me see, actually. When did High Power? I think High Power came out actually in 2011, so that might actually be the first time, actually. Yeah, that might be actually the first time I ever heard Kendrick Lamar. The City, when did The City come out? Turning angels in the city. Oh. This came out August 23rd, 2011. Oh, so same type of time. To be honest with you, I think I heard a Kendrick first on High Power and then maybe The City after, but I heard Kendrick first on High Power, then I listened to Section 80, yeah. So definitely High Power is the first record I heard Kendrick on, which was dope. So a lot of people credit Game for, the first time I ever heard of Kendrick was on his album. Makes sense, right? Game's a bigger artist, puts Kendrick Lamar on at the time, gets Kendrick a little bit bigger. Now, the first time I ever heard of J. Cole was on Jay-Z's Blueprint 3 on A Star Is Born. That was the first time I heard of J. Cole. I didn't hear no lights, please, turn off the lights, or whatever the fuck other songs he had at the time. I did not hear him. So that was the first time I ever heard of J. Cole was on the Jay-Z album A Star Is Born on the Blueprint. And then Drake, the first time I ever heard Drake. Man, I don't even know. Honestly, it was Best I Ever Had. That was the first time I ever heard Drake, but I just don't remember. That might have been the record, yeah, Best I Ever Had. Regardless, with Game saying he wanted to sign him, I don't know if I believe it or not, because I think Game, if he really wanted to sign him, he could have just dangled $500,000 or $1 million to Top Dog, whatever the case may be at the time, because I'm sure TDE wasn't really popping like that. They weren't making money. Game could have easily been like, hey, I'll cut you $1 million, or we can come with a partnership and get this person, to the next level. But Game, here's the problem with Game's career is he's never cared about the business side and having relationships. and building them and nurturing them. And that's why he's at a position in his career where he's not that top dog anymore. He's not that guy that he's not selling records. His career fell off, not musically, like music-wise is there, but like commercial-wise and just sales-wise. Not even sales. Let's just throw sales out the way, but commercial-wise, like where he's, performing at the VMAs or he's getting respect from, just peers and doing music with all kinds of artists and out there a little more in the mainstream, like that type, because he's destroyed a lot of those relationships, where they crumbled. And I don't think Dr. Dre has anything to do with Documentary 3. I don't think he does. I don't even know if the Dr. Dre had anything to do with Documentary 2. I don't remember if he did or not. But regardless, Game says this, and TDE's head of security, 2 T's, which Kendrick Lamar mentioned in one of the diss tracks to Drake. He says this, blood faking. He never wanted to sign Kendrick. So he called him out on his bullshit and said that Game never wanted to sign him. And I kind of believe that, man, because think about it. Game at this time, Game found out about Kendrick, I would assume, in 2009 or 2010. At this time, the Game is gearing up to drop his Red album. He's still on Interscope. He's still a pretty big artist. The Red album did almost 100,000 copies first week. And at that time, when sales were declining like crazy, that's some pretty good numbers. 100,000 copies first week. I think it might be his best album, but that's another thing. I might have to rank Game's albums again. But regardless, at that time, he had some sort of pull, man. He was still with Dr. Dre and still doing his thing. So to me, it's surprising if Top Dog would say no. I get it. He believes in Kendrick a lot, but to a certain extent, if somebody's giving you $1 million, $2 million, or whatever, if he ever offered him money or at least said, hey, let's partner up in this, I think Top Dog would have done it. I just don't see Top Dog be like, nah, man, nah, you get none of that. I don't know. Game's thing is, it's interesting, man, because Game, his stories sometimes just don't line up. Sometimes people say he's flat out lying. I remember seeing a tweet of somebody saying, who lies more in hip hop, Rick Ross or the Game? It's clearly William Roberts, a.k.a. Rick Ross. He's, the guy stole someone's whole identity. It's a whole, like, that guy beats anybody out the water when it comes to lying. That guy's the ultimate liar. But Game is up there, and a lot of people say that he's just be lying and just throwing shit out there just to get people to, respect what he's saying or whatever the case may be. I don't know. But regardless, that's what 2 T's said. It's, it's fake news. I would like to hear Top Dog's kind of point of view on this and see if it's actually true. That would be more of an interesting point of view, because who knows, maybe 2 T's wasn't there in the conversations that happened. Maybe Top Dog never mentioned it to him, so who knows. But yeah, that's it on that, and Game is getting ready to drop that Gangsta Grills, so be on the lookout for that. Max B is out here causing waves, and he decides to perform a Jim Jones diss track. So let's go over this. Max B has had one heck of a time since being released from prison, but there are some loose ends from his career that he still hasn't tied up. One of the biggest narratives is this regard in his beef with Jim Jones. Although neither artist has really spoken out about it since Max's release, it seems like things might get more tense now. During a recent performance, Bigavelli performed the We Slip Grand Crew track, which features French Montana and includes some disses towards Capo. Jimmy mad that Chrissy touched it in Miami. He rapped on the cut as caught by Traps and Trunks on Twitter. We haven't seen a reaction from Dipset member at press time, but it's possible he will react in some way, shape, or form. So let's play this.
We ship Grand Crew L. We ship Grand Crew L. We ship Grand Crew L. I got these bird game bitches that can't stand me. Jimmy mad that Chrissy touched it in Miami. Told my flow top of the line and need a Grammy.
Yeah, the crowd really wasn't rocking with that. Right when that came out, he's like, people were like, oh no. But Max B says he didn't approve of the diss track playing during the show, which is interesting. So let's actually play this.
Trying to get situated. How the brother, man?
What's going on, Max? We don't need this.
Nah, I ain't, look, that ain't me. Listen, that shit wasn't me. When we went up in there, when I went in the club, bro, I had 2 whole other records that wasn't even in that chapter when I was on with that regime. The nigga Flex said he don't got no records. He only got Pen to Tell. I said, all right, we only was doing like one maybe 2 songs.
Right.
The nigga did 2 hooks of Pen to Tell. and then play the Grand Crew joint. So now, I'm just saying what's up to the nigga, embracing the nigga. I'm like, I ain't know what was going on. I ain't even know the words to the shit. I was just improvising because I was performing for my craft. They paid to see the Don, and I was giving them a show. It's the equivalent of this. You got a motherfucking 2 wrestlers, and some shit go wrong in the ring. Do this, and the cameras is rolling. Do they stop or do they keep wrestling? You gotta. So that's all that was.
Nah, though, Max, that one right there, that shit was supposed to be record scratch. Like,
I'm saying, I'm not the DJ. I'm not trying to diss, bro. And I'm gonna just keep a spade to spade. If I want to diss a nigga, I go in there and do something crispy. I'm not gonna spit that old shit. I ain't even know the words to that old shit, my nigga.
Right.
My shit like that. I could go in the stew right now. Any 100 of them I got access to and lay some shit down for any nigga on the planet. But that ain't where I'm at.
So that was flex. That was flex.
Listen, that was all flex.
All right.
Don't shoot the motherfucking messenger. Cause I don't play the record. The nigga told me he only had 1 record. The nigga played Pin and Tail, and then when I'm on the stage in my zone, performing for my crowd, what I got paid to do, this nigga plays the Grand Coup freestyle.
That's nasty. That's nasty. But I just want you to. I'm glad that you can let the world know this. And I just want to say this because I was trying to find Black, because all the blame was going on Black. Like, yo, Black, how you let that go on? Like, how you even do sound check let that go? But we know it's flex. But listen, we happy you home, Max. Yo, listen, Harlem love you. Harlem love Jim. Harlem love Cam, Mace, Harlem World. Everybody.
I love niggas too. You heard?
We don't need that, man. Yo, listen, we know everything that happened. That's 18 years ago. Y'all niggas was kids, damn near. We need y'all together, bro. If y'all can't, you know what I mean, put that difference to the side, but at least just keep it peaceful.
Let me tell you something. We all family, man. We all got wives. That shit was a different time. I'm not out here disrespecting nobody, lady. It was a different time. If somebody felt offended from the last night performance, to anybody who I've offended, my bad, I apologize. Sincerely apologize from the bottom of my heart. But it wasn't a diss for nobody. I was just improvising, just to keep y'all up to speed. All right? You already know the internet been going fucking crazy since I've been out trying to make some shit and what it ain't is. So that's just the enemy trying to tap in to the 5D cosmic layer and put some shit negative out there that niggas not even into. I'm running around here with my kids and I'm getting...
So basically he's throwing the blame on the DJ, which he's saying is Funk Flex. I think. Yeah. Funk Flex said he don't got no records, blah, blah, blah. So he's basically saying, hey, Flex only had these records. I didn't want to get mad at him and cuss him out, so I performed them. Whatever. I don't know how to take that. You guys take it how you want to, but at the end of the day, if it is a diss track, and I know there's diss track lines on there and I don't want it to happen, I wouldn't rap those bars, or I would just, keep quiet, but he did rap those bars. That's why he got a little, I think the reason why he's backtracking this is because he's getting he's getting bad feedback for the most part. People are saying this is corny. Why bring up something so old and bring Chrissy into this and all this other stuff? So yeah, that's my, I don't know. For me, I would have not performed. I would have just not said the words at least. That way there's no there's clearly that I didn't want this to happen. That would have made it a lot more clear versus you actually rapping the words. But hey, it is what it is. What do you guys think of the situation? For me, like I said, it doesn't seem that clear as he's saying. He's just, saying, oh, no, it's not. That's what most artists do when they, get caught in something and the feedback is bad, right? It's like when Drake's dropping the Iceman album and some of the singles are performing bad. Oh, no, these songs are not going to be on the album, guys. Don't worry about it. If those songs perform good, they would be on the Iceman album. I'm sorry for pointing out Drake specifically. It just came to my mind where these artists, these entertainers throw something out, and if the feedback is good, they will own up to it. If it's bad, they'll be like, nah, that wasn't, I wasn't planning on doing that, So that's really what I see the situation as. Or he could genuinely mean it and be like, hey, that wasn't the plan of it. But for me, I see it like that. But we'll see what happens moving forward and if Jim Jones actually responds. Mike Dean has decided to basically go at Timbaland for supporting artificial intelligence music. So let's go over this. AI in music seems like it's here to stay, despite what many artists like Mike Dean have to say about the practice. He recently took to social media to call out Timbaland for supporting the technology's application and for supposedly making lots of money from this promotion. For those unaware, Timbaland has been at the forefront of artists praising AI music, which has caused a lot of controversy, particularly in his hip-hop circles. He doesn't really have any reservations about it, although he acknowledges some of the challenges. For example, the producer recently took to Instagram to repost some of the thoughts on AI music from a music producer, which is basically a realist and a good faith perspective on technological evolution and implementation. The Hours Till Dawn tour performer took to the comments section yesterday. He said this: I wonder how much money the company gave you to say all this. There are companies out there that have algorithms that will find out what stuff was trained from and sue whoever doesn't have ethically trained models. Pretty simple. It's happening soon. At face value, it seems like Dean is criticizing Timbo for embracing AI, but the second part of his comment is a bit more complex. It seems like the conversation centers around regulation, copyright infringement, and legal ramifications of it all. Whether you're more on the side or have more on this side or have a moral qualm with AI, it's clear that there are a lot of muddied conversations in either camp. Here's the thing with AI, man, and I've said this millions of times. We are going to have to accept AI music being out there. It's unfortunate. I disagree with it, but it's coming. Whether you like it or not, there's going to be points where you're not going to be able to tell if an artist is AI or not. And we're all going to fall in love with the record, and then before you know it, hey, this is the AI artist, not real. It's a record label pushed. And then you're like, holy shit, I actually like this AI record. I don't mind it. I've kind of changed my stance. I at first was like, fuck AI, I don't want any of the music shit. But as time went on, I don't mind it if the artist approves of it, if the artist is using it to enhance their voice in any way, shape, or form. You know, if the artist is alive to basically approve of things, I don't mind it. And I don't mind a fake AI artist coming out. That shit sucks. I don't like it at all because I'd rather have humans create music. But unfortunately, we're going to have to get over this bullshit hurdle, this AI bubble that's happening. Get over this hurdle of AI music. People are going to go crazy over it. People are going to appreciate it. And then as time goes on, we're going to go back to appreciating human music, which I know sucks. It's a cycle that we're going to have to go through. Unfortunately, these are just how people feel right now. But as time goes on, people are going to miss the human touch and are going to be like, no, or labels are just going to probably just profit all the money. I mean, really, the reason why labels are pushing this down our throats is simply because they want more profits. If they have an AI artist, it's way cheaper to get an AI artist out there than to fucking pay an actual artist. But how are you going to do tours with AI? You know, it doesn't make any sense. The touring is where all the money's at. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens, but Timbaland has been getting a lot of hate for just being on the forefront of it and just really supporting it. But I don't know, man. We'll see, man. These things could end up being a good thing. We don't know, but we'll see. Time will tell. Speaking of labels, as I was mentioning earlier, major labels are reportedly pressuring streaming platforms to raise prices. Let's go over this. Like with any market and delivery method for art under commerce, the world of digital music streaming platforms is always changing. More recently, a new report from Financial Times indicates that major record companies are pushing to preserve the profits of the model by pressuring DSPs to raise subscription prices for consumers. In fact, Spotify has already done this for the beginning of next year. According to FT, the company will raise United States subscription prices in 2026's first quarter. Their last price raise in the U.S. was in July of last year, now at $11.99 a month in comparison to the $9.99 a month price point that it launched with 14 years ago. Also, Spotify has reportedly increased subscription pricing in recent months in other countries like United Kingdom, Switzerland, and Australia. With this in mind, it looks like major labels want not just Spotify to continue these protections of profit, but also all other streaming services such as Apple Music. They have competitive reasons to push for these fee increases. Reportedly, record companies argued that the current subscription prices have lagged inflation and that video services like Netflix are rendering their price points as too cheap. According to FT, there's a slowdown in music industry's decade-long growth spurt for the past 10 years. Per the IFPI trade group, the industry's global revenue growth was half as big as last year as it was the previous one. Back to Spotify's confirmed price though. They reportedly want to sustain profits for the company with these price increases. JP Morgan analysts reportedly predicted a $500 million boost for the company's annual revenue if they raise their subscription fees by $1 a month. By $1 a month, that's a lot. Every month, $1? That's crazy. Or, no, I'm reading that wrong. By $1 for that month. We will act when the time is right for each specific market, and we'll do it at the appropriate price based on the market's dynamics, Alex reportedly stated regarding U.S. pricing during an earnings call this month. He and Gustav will take over Spotify's chief executive office following the step down of co-founder Daniel. Here's the unfortunate thing, man. Everything's getting more expensive, and people's wages ain't going up. That's the issue in all this, man. People got proper wages, and and there's gonna be people arguing, oh, if you get proper wages, all of a sudden everything's gonna be more expensive. Well, then how come in the 70s in America you could buy a house, buy a car, no problem? You could live like it was nothing. You could live comfortably. Everybody could afford burgers and fries and whatever the case may be, and everybody could live comfortably. Why can't we do that now? In fact, right now we should have more of an argument for being able to raise wages, because companies are saving a lot more money because of AI. They're firing a lot more people. AI's automating things way easier. Oh, yeah, but AI, electricity, and all this stuff. So what, man? These companies make hundreds of billions of dollars. Raising wages for people to be livable. Like I think I saw something where like making the minimum wage back in the 70s was like $25,000 or $30,000. Right now, the minimum wage is basically you make $35,000 a year if you're lucky. So nothing has really changed. Now a minimum wage would be like $70,000 a year. That's a minimum wage where you can live comfortably. At $70,000 a year, you could live, a decent life. One person, by the way. That's the crazy part. That's a whole different topic. These streaming platforms with Netflix, Spotify, all these fucking platforms need to realize that people are going to go back to pirating things. There's only so much people are going to be able to really handle. And they're going to, you know what they're going to do? They're going to slightly push the price up, keep pushing it up until the point where until they start seeing that more people are going to piracy than actually streaming. Then they'll be like, oh, no, we made a mistake. Let's reduce it back down. That's what they're going to do. They're going to keep testing the price points until they really push it too far, where they're noticing more people going to piracy than actually streaming. And that's going to happen. There's going to be a certain point where people are like, fuck this. And I'm already seeing it on social media. Hey, they keep doing this shit. I'm getting the fuck off and I'm going to pirate music again. So you're pushing people back to just stealing shit because of your guys' greedy price hikes. I mean, I know a lot of people that don't use Netflix or any of these things. They just get them illegally off, pirate platforms. And rightfully so, man, because some of these prices are ridiculous, man. They expect us to pay literally like over $100 a month just on all these streaming services. Potentially more, because you don't want ads on them and stuff like that. So you're paying even a premium for that. But it's ridiculous, man. Overall, it's ridiculous. It's going to cause more people to go the piracy route, and I encourage them, honestly, go that route, because these companies are just going to keep raising prices. It's like McDonald's. You know what they did? McDonald's just increased prices to a ridiculous amount. They just kept increasing it, and they blamed it on, oh, we have to pay higher wages in California, $20 a month. That's why. But it's increased all over the fucking United States. So how does that make sense at all? Do they keep increasing these prices, right? And then they're saying, oh, it's because of all this stuff, all tariffs and all this stuff. But then all of a sudden, when they start losing customers, all of a sudden they can do these deals. They can decrease prices. All of a sudden, it's all right. We can decrease these prices. There's no problem. You see what I'm saying? So these companies can always afford to decrease prices. They're just bullshitting you guys. They're saying it's because of tariffs. They're saying it's because of this. It's because of wages. It's because of that. All bullshit. That's just a tactic for us to not blame them. It's a tactic to go against each other, really. That's really what it is. It's like, oh, if you raise wages, oh, I'm going to have to pay $2 more for a burger. My burger's going to be really expensive. No, don't raise wages because somebody's making a lot more money than the minimum wage person, right? And I get it. McDonald's as a job should not be your job, your whole life, right? It's an entryway job. You should eventually go to the next level in life and get a better job. That makes sense, right? But not everybody's life goes that way. There's no shame in somebody being 50, 60 years old working at McDonald's. Sometimes their life just doesn't go the right way, and that's okay. Sometimes that happens. But to blame everybody and be like, oh, you should have been a college degree, whatever the fuck, some people will say, oh, you shouldn't be there, man. You're too old. You should do something else. Regardless, they're raising these prices, these companies, just to test to see how far it is before people start leaving. Let's just say the burger, they get it to $6 and they'll raise it. They get it to $6 and everybody starts leaving. So they'll say, oh, shit, we went a little too high with $6. Let's put it down to like $4. And then everybody comes back and they'll say, oh, let's tweak it to $5 and then right the sweet spot right there. And then people will stay and some people might leave, but some people will stay and still buy. So they play with these numbers just to see how far people are willing to stay and actually, do these and pay these amounts and stay here and be a customer. But yeah, people need to fight back against this. People need to leave, unsubscribe, do your thing, because it gets ridiculous to a certain extent. It's way too much, man. There's only so much people can afford to pay monthly for things. It gets out of control. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because these companies are greedy as shit. Continuing on, new music, NBA YoungBoy Slime Cry, the album did not officially come out. Lil Baby, Middle of the Summer is out now. Central C and Skepta, Bugda is out. Ed Sheeran, Play, the deluxe version album is out. Ferg, Flip Flown, Shorty, Strictly for the Streets Volume 1 album is out. Hit Boy and Spank with James, Yeast Talking is out. Russ Clue is out, and The Roots come live to Dambo, blah, 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 Blue Note. That's out as well. So check that out. Album sales. So finally, people have dethroned Taylor Swift. You got Stray Kids with Do It. They debuted at number 1 with 296,000 copies sold the first week. I have no idea who these motherfuckers are, but they're doing some good numbers. Wicked for Good soundtrack. I've heard this all over the places. Wicked movie, show, whatever. It debuted at number 2, the soundtrack, with 121,000 sold. Taylor Swift is at number 3, finally losing the number 1 spot with The Life of a Showgirl at 88,000 sold. She just got certified 5 times platinum as well by the RIAA, which is insane. 5 million sold already for this album. Morgan Wallen, I'm the Problem at number 4 with 75,000. K-pop Demon Hunter soundtrack is at number 5 with 65,000. Tate McRae is at number 6, So Close to Wet with 64,000. Olivia Dean at number 7, The Art of Lovin' with 47,000. Number 8, Has Been Hotel Season 2 soundtrack with 44,000. Aerosmith and Youngblood, One More Time, number 9 debut with 38,000. And Summer Walker finally over at number 10 with 37,000. Going down the list, SZA SOS number 13 with 32,000. The Wicked soundtrack debuted at number 14 with 31,000. Okay, so another Wicked soundtrack. I guess there's 2 movies coming out, some shit. Cardi B, In My Drama, number 18 with 25,000. BX Plug, I Hope You're Happy, number 28 with 21,000. I think that's a debut. It looks like a debut. Drake, Take Care, number 33 with 20,000. NBA YoungBoy, Massa, number 39 with 17,000. Wale, Everything Is a Lot, at number 41 with 17,000. NF Fear, number 42 with 17,000. Party Next Door and Drake, Some Sexy Songs for You, number 44 with 17,000. Tyler, Creator, Chromacopia, number 45 with 16,000. Kendrick Lamar, GNX, number 46 with 16,000. And that is it for album sales. And that is it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. As always, appreciate you guys for tuning in and supporting. It means the world to me. Stream us, Spotify, Deezer, Podcast, YouTube, all that. But don't pay the Spotify prices, especially if they keep increasing. But yeah, stream us on all those platforms. Have an amazing night, day, whenever this is, and peace.